The world held its breath. Berk, once a lone island against a fearsome enemy, was now a beacon of hope. The flags of Earth's mightiest nations fluttered alongside Berk's own. The air thrummed with the rumble of dragon wings and the murmur of thousands of soldiers. The combined might of the world stood ready to face Grimmel and his army of hunters. Hope, once a flickering ember, now roared like a bonfire. This was it, the final stand. Hiccup, astride Toothless, addressed the assembled forces. His voice, amplified by a nada's echoing roar, rang out across the pre-battle silence. He spoke of courage, of unity, of a future free from fear. His words resonated with the hearts of Vikings and soldiers alike. They were ready to lay down their lives for this newfound alliance, for the future Hiccup so passionately described. Grimmel would soon learn he had chosen the wrong enemy to underestimate. This wasn't just about Berk anymore. This was about the freedom of all dragons, the freedom to coexist, the freedom to hope. The first shriek of a death gripper pierced the air. The battle had begun. Grimmel's fleet surged forward, a monstrous wave of ships and weaponry. Dragons roared back, fire and fury answering the challenge. The sky became a maelstrom of color and noise. The soldiers of the world, trained for conventional warfare, adapted with surprising speed. Archers aimed for the wings of death grippers, while ground troops used specially designed nets to ensnare smaller dragon foes. The camaraderie was instant, forged in the heat of battle. Vikings fought alongside soldiers, their differences forgotten in the face of a common enemy. But Grimmel was cunning. He unleashed a new weapon, a monstrous net launcher capable of ensnaring even the mightiest dragon. One by one, dragons fell from the sky, trapped in the suffocating nets. Toothless roared, desperately trying to free his kin, but Grimmel had anticipated this. He had saved his deadliest weapon for last. Aimed directly at Toothless, a net larger and stronger than the others shot forward. Toothless, caught off guard, roared in protest as the net enveloped him. He struggled against the unforgiving ropes, but it was no use. He crashed onto the deck of Grimmel's flagship, defeated. Hiccup, witnessing the fall of his best friend, felt a despair he had never known. His heart ached, a physical pain mirroring the sight of Toothless's capture. The tide of the battle seemed to turn. With Toothless down, the other dragons faltered. Grimmel had won, or so it seemed. But Hiccup, though heartbroken, refused to give up. He knew deep down that this wasn't the end. He had to believe that. For Toothless, for Berk, for the future they had fought so hard for. The final confrontation was inevitable. Hiccup alone stood before Grimmel. The hunter, smug in his victory, laughed, a cruel grating sound. He had won, he boasted. Dragons would never be free. But Hiccup saw something in Grimmel's eyes, a flicker of doubt, of fear. He knew then that Grimmel had already lost. He had lost his humanity, his empathy, and in the end that would be his downfall. The details of the final battle became a blur, a desperate struggle, a daring rescue, and finally, the satisfying thud of Grimmel's defeated form hitting the deck. Victory was theirs, but it was a bittersweet victory. The cost had been high, too high. The farewell was the hardest part. Dragons, though free, were not meant to be caged, not even by love. Hiccup, with a heavy heart, watched as Toothless, his gaze full of understanding, took to the sky, leading the other dragons towards the hidden world. Hiccup knew deep down that this was not goodbye, it was a see you later. His wedding to Astrid was a muted affair, joyful, yes, but tinged with the sorrow of parting. As they stood before the assembled crowd, Vikings and soldiers alike, Hiccup knew that their journey was far from over. They were the new chieftains of New Berk, a symbol of hope and unity for a world still healing. As the soldiers saluted, honoring the fallen and celebrating the victory, Hiccup and Astrid raised their hands in return. The future stretched before them, uncertain but full of hope. They were ready,